It's hard to say, man, because the thing is, before, originally I was thinking that they both do roughly a 20x from wherever the bottom was. Like that was my prediction originally, because the weight of the sack and everything like that. But I never anticipated that the entity that owns that money, shall we say, was going to start pumping money in. I never seen that coming. That was a complete curveball. So maybe it could go a lot higher. I mean, I'd still be happy with a 20x, honestly. I don't think we're getting no 10,000x, guys. So you might as well get that idea out of your head completely. That's not going to happen, not this run. Maybe if you hold it for 2 cycles, you might get that. It's possible. I reckon anything sort of up to 100x, but anything over sort of like... you're going to have to read the market. You're going to have to look at the sentiment in the market at the time. I mean, it could do a massive blow off top, and it could go way above 100x. It could even go to like 1,000x. I'm trying to be conservative because I know the sort of bag sizes I'm dealing with, and I'm not even a massive player in this space, right? So if that does 100x, then you are literally talking stupid fuck you money for a lot of people. Like I'm very low in the ecosystem in terms of like, there's a lot of whales ahead of me. And if it did 100x from here, I would be in complete fuck you money territory. So yeah, you just got to think about that. Like I made this mistake with Hex the first time around, and this is something I'll never forget, because I came into Hex when it was already at like 4 or 5 cents. And I genuinely thought it would just carry on forever and it just keep going up and up and up. But what you fail to recognize is the guys that have got way bigger bags than you, that have got here way earlier than you, and the kind of money they're sitting on. So in order for you to become a millionaire with your few $1,000s at whatever price you're in now, that means that you're going to be making people almost billionaires, right? On imaginary internet money. So you got to think about like who's ahead of you in the game and then plan accordingly. So if the price was to go up 100x from here, there's going to be loads and loads and loads of people that have got well over $100 million in Pulse, providing that they didn't sell, right? Or PulseX, providing they didn't sell, well over $100 million. I mean, how much money is enough for people? I mean, when I think about myself, my target in crypto was to make $2 million. That was all I wanted at one point. It was just like, that would be a number that I could live off for like the rest of my life, pretty much. I could retire with that. I could go buy a nice little house. Don't want anything too flashy. I'm not bothered about sports cars. I'm not bothered about like, you know, jetting off around the world all over the place, doing all this stuff. Like, I just want like a nice modest life. $2 million would be more than enough to do that. What's your number? Like, what's, you know, do you have a number, RHMax?
I think I have a series of numbers. However, how do you know I haven't already hit some?
You probably did. But, you know, when you first got into crypto, you must have had like a number in mind where you're like, yeah, if I hit this number, I'll just sell everything. I'm not bothered anymore. Like, not necessarily sell everything, but...
Yeah, at a certain point, I mean, obviously, I think everyone's number's in the millions of some sort. It could be higher, it could be lower. I did a poll the other day, actually. I asked, what is the number that you need to exit, retire, like whatever it was? And I wish I can't, if I could find it quickly, I'd pull it up. But it was something like most people were within the range of like 2 million, somewhere around there. And I think a lot of people were in the 5 million and 10 million range. But I feel like most people were in like the 2 to 5 million range. It's like they would just, you know, whatever, retire, let's say. So yeah, I think what you said is pretty much in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a reasonable number, you know, like anything up to sort of like 5 mil, something like that would be like a reasonable number to go at, because then, you know, that's enough money to go and buy a house outright, buy a nice car, get yourself set up, you know, maybe put it in some stonks or something like that. So you got like a little bit of residual income, maybe start a business, whatever. Like, most people aren't that greedy, but the problem is that when the money starts going up, people do get greedy. I know a lot of guys that were multi-millionaires on Hex that didn't sell enough when it got towards the top. You know, it already outperformed any of their wildest dreams, but they still didn't sell enough because they got greedy.
That's a good question too, just on that. What is the difference between greed and delayed gratification? Like, is there a balance there?
Probably there is. I mean, if you use Hex in the way that it's supposed to be used, as in you just scale out like a staking ladder, and then you just, you know, almost forget it's there. It's like putting it in a bond or something, right? So if you do it that way, I don't feel like that's greedy at all, because you want, like, delayed gratification, it is actually a very good behavior. It's great that people can do that. I mean, we have that to some degree on 9inch, because you can lock up your 9inch and your BBC for an entire year if you want to, and it's not 15 years, but you know, you can do that. And I've got a lot of guys that messaged me saying, I'm so glad that you did that feature, because when we had the price crash, they said they would have sold. They would have sold around then. And now the price is pumping again. They're really happy because they've also got the yield on top of it. So they've been paid basically to hold. So I think the delayed gratification side is really, really good. And you should try and, you know, put your stakes in a position where you think that the 4-year cycle is going to be at certain times and whatever, like, or do a yearly ladder, whatever you want to do. Like, but because that's the thing that attracted me to Hex in the first place, is that I can just send my money to the future and, you know, hopefully it's worth more, but if it isn't, so be it, whatever, you know, even just the price being the same, plus the yield, you know, 30-40% every year is pretty good. So I'd be pretty happy with that, without the price movement, in all honesty. But, you do get those. I mean, no one anticipated Hex would go down as far as it did, even with the PulseChain fork, and no one predicted that. Like, so I mean, it literally went down more than Celsius and Luna.
No one who doesn't own an island right now.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And that's the thing. Like I say, I know a lot of guys that had a lot of Hex, and they maybe there are people that it was just all staked, so they couldn't do anything about it, which is sucks to be them. But I know guys that did have liquid, like stakes had ended and they didn't sell. If anything, they were still buying, even though the price has gone up like over 1,000x for them. They're still not selling. And I'm kind of like, but what's the number, man? What's the number? Like, when are you happy? You know, they've got multiple millions of dollars. Why don't you just sell half of it, or just get yourself 1 or 2 million out clean, you know, just so you got it, right? And then you don't have to think about selling again for a long time because you've got enough. But this was it. People just got greedy with it, man. And that's the mistake I don't want to make this time around. That's why my price predictions for Hex and PulseChain and PulseX they're quite high, but I'm going to be DCAing out a little earlier than most people might, because I don't want to get left holding a bag after it's done its moonshot. I'm never going to sell everything, but I will be gently selling all the way up. And just getting myself a nice DCA price out, because even if I only capture half the gains of the market, because my bag size is fairly decent, I don't really need the full 100x or 150 or whatever it ends up potentially doing. So my price prediction, probably I would be aiming around 50x. I think if it hits 50x from the bottom, that's a very good time to think about taking some off. You know, I mean, even less than that, 20x is probably a good time to do it. I really don't know. It depends what happens with like the court case. It depends if Richard starts streaming again. It depends if any of that money from the SAC wallet ends up getting deployed, like the ETH price maybe dragging it up, whatever. There's a lot of variables here. So it's like really too early to say. All I know is that people who are selling now are fucking retards. So yeah.
I would like to see our number one marketing guy back on stream.
Yeah,
doing promoting it. You know, I know Twitter is one thing, but man, his streams were so powerful.